a high bay storage system for containers with integrated stacker cranes for heavy loads. This would mean space savings. It would enable automated processes that are far beyond what is currently usual. The efficiency of the processes could be increased enormously. Stacked containers would no longer be blocked, and autonomous, digitally controlled processes would make container handling more fluid and reliable. Depending on the form of energy used, it could increase the climate friendliness of the location. What sounds like a fairy tale that terminal operators read to themselves at night is about to become reality in the land of the folk tales, the Arabian Nights. The name is BOXBAY, and for us, it's time to investigate.
The logistics industry is on the verge of profound change. Increased goods traffic on the one hand, lack of space on the other hand. And massive changes are also on the horizon for the industry in general. In this situation, SMS Group, as the biggest system supplier for the metals industry, and DP World, well known as terminal and ports operator, started a joint venture. Let's talk to some very interesting people from both sides. Mr. Dobner, you are CEO of BOXBAY, and as far as I know, you were part of the automation at ports already. So what is new with BOXBAY?
Yes, this is true. I was already part of automation in terminals in the mid-90s when the first automated terminals came up with AGVs and ASCs. But especially in the last years, the software developers have made a lot of progress. Today could be much more possible than the traditional and conventional yard equipment stacking cranes is able to execute. And here BOXBAY is exactly the right answer.
If you do me a favor, please describe a bit more the benefit seaports have when they use BOXBAY.
Yeah, the big challenge of the seaports today, and that might have not been the case some years ago, is that they are running out of space. Wherever you look today in the big seaports, they want to grow, but there's no more land available to grow. So what choices do you have? You either can fill up land and reclaim it, or you stack higher and higher. But we all have seen that with 5 high, 6 high, there's a national border. Because the higher you stack container upon each other, the more you slow down your operation. So BOXBAY is pointing us out of this dilemma. The dilemma that everybody wants to stack higher, but the containers are not in random access. A high bay store is random access. We know exactly how much time it takes to take a container out. We don't need to shuffle containers around. And this is the big advantage. BOXBAY and using BOXBAY is a mind change. With BOXBAY, you can stack 11 high, every container is in random access, and we don't have any shuffles at all anymore. So BOXBAY is dynamic in its reaction time, high bay storing of containers, and the way how we have configured it means that we can store 3 times as much as containers in comparison to an RTG operation on the same footprint for 20% more performance. Configurable, scalable, so that you can erect it on the land, what you have already in your own possession, your own concession, where you don't have to ask anybody. I think this is a word, isn't it?
It is, indeed. But sea terminals are different, as you know. We have large terminals, we have small terminals, we have large harbors, we have small harbors. Is BOXBAY a system for just large harbors or for small harbors as well?
BOXBAY is basically extremely well configurable. You can start small, you can grow big, you can add modules, you can add in length, you can have different heights. Basically, it's a toolbox to configure this system to any application. to replace an RTG operation, a straddle carrier operation, a rail-mounted gantry crane operation, and to, let's say, set, instead of this operation, a high bay store which fits in the environment. So BOXBAY is not the solution, it is a toolbox to configure the right solution.
At this point, it comes to my mind that the system also would be very interesting for hinterland terminals, for domestic terminals. Is that right?
Yes, that is of course right. Basically, the system is interesting, or should be interesting, for everybody who stacks containers, whether that is a seaport or a barge terminal or a rail terminal, a rail hub. It could be also interesting for the logistics industry stacking containers.
Let me come back to the seaports for 1 second. Yes. Do you think that apart from all the other advantages BOXBAY brings to seaports, the traffic congestion and the avoid of the traffic congestion could be one of them?
Yes, that is completely true. BOXBAY, as I already said, is, let's say, a system where the stacking crane, the storage and retrieval machine, has any container in direct access. So the system reacts much more dynamic, much more. The reaction time on a container request from a truck coming into the terminal is faster. So we know exactly how long it takes, and the reaction time is more dynamic. And the productivity is up to 20% higher. So this system will, of course, on the land side, end up with less traffic congestions, and that is also the way out of another problem.
Would you say that BOXBAY will not change only the processes where it is built, but for logistics in general, worldwide?
Yes, I think this. We all have more and more expectations in delivery times. When I order something on the internet 5 years ago, well, I was happy when it arrived at home 3 days later. Today, I'm not happy when it's not coming next day. And in 10 years, we want to have it same day. So what does that mean? That means that the reaction time of logistics worldwide must be faster, more dynamic. And for that, you not only need operational research and fantastic software and terminal operation systems, you need also equipment that is able to execute this. And here BOXBAY is, I think, the right answer to fulfill everything what the new software is promising.
Wonderful. BOXBAY is a joint venture with a machine and plant manufacturer. That sounds a bit weird. Is it weird, or is it logical?
It's logical. I think if you look back in history of technology, many good systems came exactly together when the user or the operator and the producer, the technological provider, were sitting on a table and were trying to find out the best solution. And this is exactly here the case.
Mr. Klein, how did you come up with the idea to further develop the system, and how did you recognize the potential of such a system for container handling?
Our core business is handle heavy goods in the steel and aluminum industry. In addition to that, we have also a lot of experience in handling air cargo on airports, and we started this new kind of business in 2013. The whole group started a new horizon system where we are looking to other industries where we can increase our business.
Mm-hmm. And what is AMOVA's competence in the field of logistics?
AMOVA is an expert inside of the SMS group for handling heavy loads like aluminum coils, like steel coils, as well as air cargo. That's our core business where we come from. We have experience since middle of the 60s. We have more than 60 high-bay stores worldwide for aluminum coils as well as for steel coils. In the steel industry, you need a very high reliability because the rolling mills are running 7,000 hours per year, and they are producing a coil every 60 seconds. So we have to handle every 60 seconds a coil. We have to transport this coil, and we have to store it in our high-bay store.
How did you come up with developing an HBS system, an high bay storage system for containers?
We started in 2013 with where we are looking to increase our field of business. We have this new horizon in that of the SMS group, where the whole group is looking to other opportunities outside of the steel and metals industry. And we, with our logistics experience, look to industries where there is also need for high throughput and high storage capacity. And of course, we are specialists for handling heavy loads, not lightweight goods. And therefore, it was quite obviously to look to the container industry. And we were very surprised that there is no solution on the market which already delivers high bay stores for containers. So after the first discussions with customers, with terminal operators, we found out that we are really the first one who want to build this kind of high bay store for containers.
Mm-hmm. And what references do you have for such a project, especially for harbors or terminals?
As I said, we have references in the steel industry. We have references for air cargo in Kenya and Ethiopia to handle containers which are then put into the plane. So the business in the air cargo is quite similar to the container business in the harbors. And for the real container business, we're now starting with the first reference in Dubai and Jebel Ali to build the first high bay store for containers.
So you are a specialist in, as you said, in process logistics for metallurgical plants. Does this help with port logistics really?
We are using exactly the same technology what we are using in the steel industry. The only difference is how to handle the container. So we are using twist locks, exactly the same which are also used in spreaders in the moment. But the stacker crane itself, with the lifting device, with the driving motors and so on, is exactly the same what we are using in the steel industry. So therefore, the customer will get a real proved system and not a new development. The only new thing is that now this proven technology will be transferred to the terminal industry.
So you're saying that the system is already running. What is the position of your DP World partner?
In that case, I would introduce Ronald van der Meer, the project manager from DP World in our BOXBAY joint venture.
It's a great feeling that after a long time of designing, we finally have reached the status that things are moving. BOXBAY is a new system, a new port, a yard system in our industry. All the stories I have and meetings I had with our competitors, when I conferences, everybody is happy about it. But they're also skeptic. Is it really be built? And nowadays, what you can see over here is with the machine, it is really built, it really takes place. So I think our competitors are more than interested. With the Expo 2020, we will show this system for the first time to the world in Dubai. But for sure, we will not only use it in Dubai. This system, we have in our portfolio more than 10 terminals, which this BOXBAY gives the solution for the problems that we're facing over there. Mainly a congested yard. So we are for sure not only installing this BOXBAY in Dubai, but we will also do it in other locations in the world, inland and on the waterside terminals. Our target as DP World is to be a trade enabler. And we think by adding this system to the market, as a joint venture partner, we're making enable trade more and more in for locations where they have a limited port facility, limited space. Of course, we have shown this to the market, also for instance in the TOC, and everywhere people are very interested about it. It looks nice, but they're also very skeptical about it. Will it really take place? And that's the benefit where we are now standing over here. Here you can see that we are really building it. You see the machines moving, and before the end of the year, they will ship it to Dubai, where we will really install it. We, up till now, have still managed to stay a little bit ahead of our time schedule. The machine is standing over here, it's now working. We are doing the factory acceptance test and will be shipped after Christmas to our site. There it will be erected and everything will be up and running before the summer of 2020. So for sure, when Expo 2020 starts, 20 October in 2020, this facility will be up and running and will show the market how innovative way containers can be handled.
So, Mr. Brück, you are Director Business Development at AMOVA. How did the cooperation with DP World help?
It is the result of our search for a partner who brings in the complete operational knowledge you must have as a global terminal operator. So this brings us into a position that we are able to clearly address the requirements of the terminal industry and provide some type of product which is really a quantum leap in doing container handling and yard management.
Well, sounds very promising, sounds very challenging, sounds very interesting. I'm curious, is this just a good idea? Is this just a computer animation, or is there more behind it?
Fortunately, we have a lot of more behind it, as we are now currently implementing the first high-bay store in reality, which happens in Jebel Ali in Dubai, the container terminal 4 from DP World. Here we are building a phase 1 facility, which has a capacity of approximately 1,200 TEUs, and we will be operational mid-2020.
Oh yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong, but to me it sounds like that the modular system could be integrated or could be built to a running system, to a running harbor, to a running terminal. So how do you manage to connect this new system to the running system?
As I mentioned earlier, it is really the case that you do a stepwise transformation. So you can start in one area of your existing port, build the first module of the HBS, run it with the existing horizontal transport, and then do the conversion step by step in the existing facility without having the loss of production capacity for the complete or major part of the port.
Mm-hmm. But the system sounds like it's a very complex system. So if a part of the system fails, will the whole system break down?
Definitely not, because we have the idea of redundancy also in this concept. We are utilizing more than one stacker crane per aisle, per module, and having different interfaces which can serve one specific module, so that in any case you have different alternatives to access one single container to ensure that we can provide it according to the storage plan to a vessel on waterside operation.
Coming to CO2 issues, how about the efficiency of the terminal concerning CO2, and how does this affect costs?
Yes, I think CO2 is a very global point of discussion. And of course, there have been since several years trends which are moving to the so-called green port, and we are addressing this. We have a purely electrified system, so we are fully running on electrical energy, and we are applying energy efficiency concepts such as energy regeneration, as we have in a high-bay store mainly vertical movements, which is lifting and lowering, and of course during lowering we have a very high percentage of energy which can regenerate it and feed back to the power grid. Furthermore, we have an unobstructed big surface, which is the roof of our high-bay store, which we can utilize for solar panels in areas where it's applicable, maybe in Dubai or in Western Europe, or who have enough sunshine. And in so far we can also produce energy, so that finally we have a very high cost-effective operation running on electrical energy. You must think of the high-bay store in which all the storage operation takes place is a completed cladded and roofed building. So the environment is protected against noise, and we do not use lights inside that building, as our machines are not depending on lights for operation. So we have a very moderate impact on any urban environment or the normal nature environment, and which eases permitting processes and authority proving of concepts. it's beneficial for the operators as well.
So to me that sounds very challenging. It sounds very interesting, very let's say visionary. So would you say this is a highlight in your career?
Yeah, definitely. That's 100% for sure. I think being part of the World Expo, which is a global experience, and being there with a real world facility, if you look back to history, whose great names have been introduced by a World Expo like Gustav Eiffel with the Eiffel Tower, we are more than proud.
So as you can see, BOXBAY is a disruptive, revolutionary system that truly will be spreading all over the world. For us it's very interesting to see how it affects terminals in the hinterland and at the seaside. For us as a magazine, we will stick to it. We will join the process and we will keep you informed. Goodbye.